In this video, I want to talk about securing your usernames and passwords for your online accounts. And the reason I want to is because there's been a lot of security breaches in the past several weeks, and I want to make sure that something like what happened to me doesn't happen to you. I just recently had my Amazon account hacked, and someone purchased things with my account, and I'll scroll down to the bottom to let you see that yesterday, which was June the 12th, today's June the 13th, I did receive a letter from my bank saying the money that was stolen has been returned. So I've now completed this, and I didn't want to make a video until I had from the beginning to end. But let me start out by asking the question, how safe are your passwords? Now, I should have thought about this long before this hack occurred, but I thought, boy, was I not very educated. I was very dumb about this situation, and I wanted to make sure that others will learn from my mistakes. Let me kind of read you the first paragraph, and then I'll explain what's down below. I asked the question, do you allow your web browser or browsers to store your online passwords? And I did. That was my fault. I said, do you log in websites such as Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, Yahoo, and other type of internet providers' emails without entering your username and password? If so, you may be at risk for someone gaining access to your personal information. Our email accounts generally provide links to other valuable accounts such as our online banking, our Amazon accounts, or any other online shopping sites, and they usually contain records for communications with our friends, family members, and work colleagues. So it's very important that we protect our usernames and passwords. You know, someone can log in to us in our emails and impersonate us and send out emails to other people that we were not aware of, and other people become offended by what they said, or they may even gain access to our social media such as Facebook or Twitter and send out tweets or Facebook messages that we didn't do and we didn't know anything about. And let me first, this link here, I've already clicked on it. It takes a while to load. It shows that this was February the 12th, not long ago, but this is right after I realized I was hacked. It says billions of emails and passwords have been leaked. It says check your Gmail, Outlook, and Hotmail account. Now, I'm not going to read all of this. I do have the link in my on the web page that you can go down here. It's a very short read, but if you do notice down here, it talks about the number of accounts that were compromised. And if you can see here just in the title, Gmail, Outlook, and there's more about Outlook in my webpage and Hotmail. The next link that I have is Cyber News, and it gives more information. It says Comb, the largest breach of all time, leaked online with 3.2 billion records. And if you scroll down here, and this is what I was really looking for, it shows based on our analysis of the breach data, there are approximately 200 million Gmail addresses and 450 million Yahoo messages in the Comb data leak. So if you use a Gmail address or a Yahoo address, then based on the number of people's accounts that were collected, I recommend that you not only change your passwords, you make sure that someone hasn't signed into that account and are syncing your data. If they're syncing your data as you change your password, if your browser is storing that password, when you change the password, they're logging in, they're going to sync the browser with the new password. So changing your password is not the fix. When I first realized that my Gmail account was hacked, I read on websites, multiple websites, change your password, and I immediately did. And I still noticed, and I'll show you in just a moment, that somewhere else was still logged in and that I had to sign out and then change my password again. And then I think that fixed the Gmail problem. And that was the Gmail problem, but not the Amazon problem. If you go down here, here's more about the Outlook. More than 20,000 U.S. organizations were compromised through a Microsoft flaw. If you go down here, it says more than 20,000 U.S. organizations were compromised through a backdoor via recently patched flaws from Microsoft's email software, which allowed hackers to get into these organizations. Now, this is not 20,000 people. This is 20,000 organizations. Each organization has, I don't know how many people working for them. So if you had an Outlook email address through a corporation, then someone could, through that company, gain access to your email if your company is using the Microsoft Outlook software. So this affects a lot of people. So it's a very huge, huge hack. Now, if you look here again, it says 3.2 billion passwords contain 1.5 million records with government emails. So it's not just Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, Hotmail. These hackers are actually hacking our government leaders. If you look down through here, the United States has the most hacked accounts. Going down through here, the United Kingdom, Mexico, Australia, Brazil, all the way down to South Korea based on this information. So when you look here at the top 10 government agencies affected, our State Department, the Veteran Affairs, the VA, the Department of Homeland Security, and that's very frightening, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, the Internal Revenue Service. So if hackers gained access to the IRS, then our Social Security numbers is at risk. And one other time we were told that the IRS was hacked before, that we had to keep a kind of a record to make sure that no one was stealing our ID. And so it's kind of frightening that they can actually hack into places like the Department of Justice, the Social Security Administration. So these are huge hacks that are just recently taking place. Now, I'm not making a video for anyone to get paranoid. You know, the best thing to do when you're hacked is to stay calm, to analyze this logically. So the first thing you want to do is to find out if your email was compromised. And I do have 4 links here that you can check. You can click on the link, Have I Been Pwned? And I'll go ahead and close this link about the FBI warning us that multiple factor authentication hackers are now able to go past that, because I did read on websites where people were saying they were hacked. Other people were saying you should have used two-step authorization in order to gain access it. Well, hackers have learned to get past that, so we're talking about beyond that point. Now that is great to have that. So if you have a cell phone, set up two-step authentication so that way you have to have a code in order to access it. But on this website, Have I Been Pwned, you can put your email address or your phone number and hit the link here, and it will search and let you know whether or not they have found your email address somewhere on the dark web or somewhere that people are advertising or trying to sell your email addresses. And you can look at some largest data breaches, and they've got a lot of pwned accounts. That is a huge, huge number. Over 11 billion accounts that they have that's been pwned. So there's a lot. That's just one site. I do have another website that you can check, and I recommend checking on all of them. You know, you might be slipped by or just one didn't find it. You can put your email address here, and it will look for breaches and detection and give you an analysis. They'll even recommend things to do if your account has been breached. Avast will not only check it, it'll send you an email notification because you're putting in your email address, so with the results, so that way that your results are not being displayed on the screen. It'll send you results of if it found something. Cyber News Data Leak Checker, it's another big one here that you can put your email address. So there's 4 sites that you can use to put your email address, and I recommend not just put one. If you've got like a Yahoo address, a Gmail address, Hotmail address, check them all, because you want to make sure that any email that you use that's been compromised, you're trying to fix that compromised account. Now, one of the first things to do, and I'm going to use my Gmail as my compromised email because that was the one that was compromised. Now I do have 4 computers. I have 2 desktops, a Linux desktop system, and that's the one that I'm currently on, and I do have a Windows 10 machine. That's my Plex Multimedia Center. I do use it occasionally, and the only reason I don't use Linux on it is because before I switched over to Linux I had a Windows 7. I upgraded to Windows 10. I really didn't like the boot loop that it put me in, but I eventually fixed that. And so these old machines, I didn't want to upgrade to Windows 10 because they were older than this one. So I put Linux on them, and I realized that I like Linux better than I do Windows 10. But I'm not dishing Windows 10. But that's not what this video is about. I do have 2 desktop systems and 2 laptops. When I logged in, and if you click on devices here, you'll get the information. There's my Linux desktop, my Windows desktop, and both of my laptops. Now it said I've logged into my Gmail account on June 3rd with this laptop and logged into Gmail on June the 7th. So it lets you know when your account was lax access. When I got up not long ago, well, it was earlier this morning, 2 hours ago, I logged in my email, and I think before I left the house and went back in, I checked my email again on the Windows machine, and I'm currently on this device. So it's showing me right now that I'm currently logged into my Gmail account. It's running in the background. but I do use a password manager that I'll talk more about. But as you can see, I'm no longer logged in any more accounts. But at the time that I realized that there were these breaches, when I logged in to look at, all you basically do is just go to google.com/devices, and it will let you know all the devices that's currently been logged in or signed into. So if your device was signed in from some other location, you will see a device name. And let me show you what else I noticed. Not just these accounts, but I did notice an LG TV that says helpful home device and a home helpful home device, and I signed out of both of those. I don't have an LG TV, nor have I ever owned an LG TV, nor I don't even know what that is. But when I click the dots, I can say to show more info, and it will give me the IP of the address of the device. And I know from these IP addresses here, you can click what is my IP address. I'm not going to, because it says do not show your IP address to anyone, because criminals can use your IP address to impersonate you or steal your personal information. My IP address was the same for each of those, because those were the computers that I use on my internet. If you see a device, click to show more information. And let me go back up here. I'm not going to show more information to reveal my IP address. I just want to show you those three dots. If you click those three dots, you can sign out or don't recognize, or click more details. More details will reveal the IP, but signing out will, whoever's logged in as you, will sign them out where they can't get back into it as long as they don't have your username and password. But if they're logged in, more than likely they had your username and password. That's when you quickly need to change your email and your password so they can't log back in. If you just change your username and password and they're already into your account and they have their browser synced, then that particular device is going to get the updated, changed password. So one thing that most websites leave out when they said if your account has been hacked, to change your password. Well, you do want to change your password, but sign out any devices that are currently logged into that account. So I don't know what this was, and I don't even know what this was. Just because you see LG TV but just because you see home, that doesn't mean that this is really a TV and that's a home device. There are devices, and I'm not going to show you where to get them. They're even in the Google Play Store that you can download that will spoof the name of another device so that when you look at it, it kind of blends in and you would think it's just something in your house. So this could be someone else's computer. It could be a tablet. So you can't trust the name, and if they're using a VPN or the Tor network, you can't trust the IP address to tell where they're located. So the best thing to do is to click that and hit sign out. But to click more details will give you more information about the IP address. Knowing that my IP address did not match, I knew that these two things had access to my account. Whether these two people were affiliated with each other or because the data breach, it was exposed on the dark web, two different people tried to log into my account just to see what was going on, and I have no idea how much information that they gathered, but I can say that my Amazon account was compromised and someone purchased it. Can I say that it was the email's fault? To start with, I thought it was, because I can tell that it was hacked. So as you see, you click the three dots, click sign out, those will no longer appear, and eventually after a period of time they will disappear. Keep track, if someone did get access to it, keep a track every now and then to go back to here to make sure that nothing's logged into your account that you didn't actually give access to. And if it did, sign out and try to figure ways to keep them from getting into your account. All right, next, you do want to go through here and change some of your permissions. What you need to do is to go into My Account, Google Permissions, where it says Google Account Sign-In Prompts. This allows Google to offer a faster way to sign in with your account, and it supports third-party sites. When you give a third-party site permission to use your username, we don't know what they're collecting. They could collect your username and your password, and if they're whatever third party, they could be posting, if it was eventually compromised, they could be getting your usernames and passwords not from your computer, but from these third-party sites that allows them to collect your username and passwords. So turn this feature off. And I do have the link here. All I did was click on that link to bring this up so that you're not prompting automatically to go into your Gmail account when you click to go on Gmail. It's not going to instantly load into Gmail. That's a fast way, convenient way, but when you make something convenient, you're also making it convenient for hackers. So if you can look, the only app that has permission to my Google account now is my Google Chrome, currently the browser that you're looking at. And if you've watched some of my most current past videos, I've been using either Vivaldi or Brave, so I'm trying to get away from Chrome, but these things were still in Chrome. Like when I went and did online shopping, I brought Chrome back up. Eventually I was going to do these password manager videos, but the hack occurred before I got a chance to it, so I'm going to incorporate that into this video. But as you can see, the only thing that has access to it is this Google Chrome app. Any other apps that you don't recognize, remove them. Don't give them access to your Gmail account or your Google account. The next thing you want to do is you want to change some of your settings about your passwords. When you click here, it says offer to save passwords. No, that's a bad thing. You don't want any of your passwords saved within your browser, because once your browser is compromised, someone can sync their browser, like a Google Chrome browser. They can sync it if they have sync turned on, and they can pull all your saved passwords and usernames and anything that you have saved in that browser. They can sync it and basically clone the browser that you're using, so anytime you do something, they're able to see it as well. So where it says offer to save passwords, turn that off. Where it says auto sign in, turn that off. You don't want that to automatically sign in, so that way I disabled that. Now they're letting you know that disabling that, you're going to get a confirmation each time you log into Gmail to put your username and password. But with using a password manager, you just click on that and it fills it out for you and it will log in, so it's easy. Password alerts, I do leave that enabled. This says Google will notify you when a saved password is found online. So Google has now been aware of a lot of these hacks that are going on, and they kind of like have I been pwned. If they find that your site, that your address has been online compromised, they should let you know, so that way you can change it. And I'll show you the way that they will let you know in just a few moments. Before you delete all your passwords into your browser, I recommend you to click the export and export all your saved usernames and passwords, and then eventually go in there and delete them all, so that way you'll have a copy of all your usernames and passwords so you can put them into your password manager. But I do recommend that you change your passwords for each account that you have saved, because someone that hacked into your account can also export those on their system and have access to every website that you have saved. Maybe your online banking, they'll have your online banking usernames and passwords, and that can be scary. But that's why it's important that you clear out the data from your browser and then you make changes to all those passwords. The next thing you want to do is you want to go to Passwords, Google, to look and see if you have any compromised passwords. It says you haven't saved any passwords on your Google account yet. That's because I removed them all. Now here's the way that I knew that my system was compromised for my Google account. When I did the checkup, at the time I realized that I was hacked, and when I said it told the steps to do, I screen captured it. It says passwords checked for 107 sites and apps. It found 5 compromised passwords. It found 93 reused passwords. Now that's not to say that these were hacked. It's just I just got in a habit when I would create a password for other accounts, I would reuse passwords, and that's not a good habit to ever do. Never do that. I'm showing you that I did, but never ever will I do that again. I've learned from my mistakes. Then for these that didn't have reused passwords, they were just weak. They were kind of short. They did contain uppercase and lowercase and symbols. They were just short. They weren't strong passwords. And so for someone that had a password generator, it wouldn't take them long to get into these accounts. I never really liked to make long passwords because it took too long to type them in, so I created some shorter ones, but I thought by mixing the characters and alphabets and numbers would make it more secure. But Google let me know that they're considered weak passwords. But these are the ones you need to be concerned about. These are the compromised passwords, and I did have 5 compromised passwords, and one was to my Gmail account. So Google was really letting me know that I did have a compromised Gmail account, that I should have went here and checked. So you can go there, check it often. You might want to bookmark it or something, or bookmark my site so that you can go through occasionally to make sure, if you're using Google Chrome and checking your Gmail, that you don't have any passwords saved, or any passwords that that are found that are compromised. So I went in there and deleted every single one of them. But before I did, I would log into each site and change the password because I've disconnected the two devices from my system that I didn't know what they were. So I then changed each password to each account. Now it took several days. I mean, with all these accounts, I went and changed every user, not every username, but every password for each of the usernames for each website. But the first one that you want to focus on are the compromised ones. Those are the ones that probably someone's already got access to. And then you want to go through the ones that are weak or reused passwords, because if they logged in and had a reused passwords, then they know your same password for something else that they can get into. Then I went through and tried to change each of these. So the thing you want to do is to go to a website like Secure Password Generator. Now I unchecked this one where it says do not send across the internet. I choose 16 characters. I want to include symbols, include numbers, lowercase, uppercase letters, and exclude similar, like L's and 1's sometimes looks the same, zeros and O's. So that way it's, if you can't recognize what it is, if you're writing it down on a piece of paper for some reason, or you're trying to store it in a password manager, you're not writing down the wrong letter. So exclude similar letters, so that way you'll be able to identify the letters or characters that you're putting into a password manager or where you're writing them down. When you say generate a password, if you don't like the looks of that one, you can keep hitting it until you like the looks of a generated password. Now as you can see here, it contains numbers, characters, uppercase, lowercase, symbols, and it will give you a little remembrance. So I went and I brought up a text message, and for each of my account I created me a little text message that's not stored on my computer, that's saved with every one of my accounts, including my master password to my Bitwarden password manager. So I created these are safer passwords than what I would normally do. You never want to use your pet name or a family member name, because people can look up those on your maybe social media or through people that know you and try to generate a password. But these are just random passwords. So that's one site. There's other sites that would generate it, and if you actually use Bitwarden, Bitwarden is for multiple platforms, and that's what I'm using. There's a paid plan, or there's for enterprise, that's companies, but for the actual user it's free. You don't have to pay anything. It's open source. I did a lot of research. It's very safe. There's others probably out there. That's the free one for it says create a free organization for 2 people. It's up to 2 people, 2 users, 2 user accounts. You can use, I'm not going to reveal my passwords there, I almost clicked on it, but you can use, when you log in, multiple websites. So I'm just talking about 2 users with the free account. So you can go there, you can download it for multiple platforms. You can download it for desktop systems, for Windows users, Mac users, and Linux users. I always recommend using a password manager, whether it's Bitwarden or something other else. You might want to do research and hear someone pushing another product other than Bitwarden. Bitwarden's open source. It's been certified that it's safe. So, and I've read a lot of reviews and watched a lot of videos. So I feel safe that Bitwarden is safe. It may eventually come out that it was compromised, but for right now, it appears safe to me. And you can also install the extensions to your web browser for Chrome, Safari, Vivaldi, Firefox, Opera, Brave, the Tor browser, and Microsoft Edge. So you can put the extension so that when you log into to your password manager, when you come to a website that needs logging in, you just click onto your password manager, click on the name of the link, it will show up. It won't have all thousands of links that you have. It'll pick the website associated with the link. You click on it, it will automatically fill out, and you can hit log in. So it's not complicated. You just have to remember when you log on to your browser to put your master password in, and you can eventually associate a PIN number so that it will be shorter, and you can go into settings and make all sorts of changes to the password manager. But it's for multiple things, even command line. For those of you that like command line in both Windows for the DOS prompt, for Mac users, Linux users that like the command line, there is a command line password manager. So that's how you can get the password manager. If you don't know anything about password manager, since I don't have time to make the videos, I found some great videos on YouTube that will teach you everything you need to know about password managers. First, the quick start, so if you want to quickly get it on your system, and then import your Chrome passwords. And I don't recommend to import Chrome passwords, because if they're compromised passwords, you're going to be importing them into Bitwarden. But you might want to import them and then go through that one account at a time and change them. It actually has a password generator stored within Bitwarden, so that you can generate and go to each website and change it and resave it. So that's where you can import your Chrome passwords. But then make sure you change them. Then it's how to change account passwords. So if you've imported them but don't know how to change them, this shows you how you can change them, how you can log into accounts. So if you go to a website, this shows you how you can use Bitwarden to log in. And then this is just a beginner's guide from beginning to end on how to use it. And then this shows you how to install Bitwarden app on a Linux system. So it's not just the app. You can install the program where you have all your master passwords and usernames for all of your online accounts. So when you go back to passwordgoogle.com, once you removed all your passwords, it'll let you know that you don't have any saved passwords in your browser. And that means that you're safe. If a hacker gets into your Gmail, they try to sync anything, there's nothing there to sync. The only thing you have to worry about is if they are in your Gmail, that you don't have any passwords emailed to yourself in that email. So you need to go through and search through that Gmail passwords that you may have put in there. You can put the word password to search or PW. And if you've ever scanned any checks and sent it somewhere so that they can get your route number, look through your sent email messages to make sure that there's no routing numbers or bank information that allows someone that gets into your Gmail to have access to your online banking. Because once they get access to your online banking, they can get your routing number to your bank, and then they can impersonate you and get access to your money. So I'm not trying to frighten you. I'm trying to make sure that you protect yourself, that you're not leaving things in that email in case someone does get in that email, that they can get information. So if you do online banking, make sure that you also put your username and password into the password manager and not your browser. You don't want someone to go to your online bank, click login, and it automatically log in. You want to make it difficult for them. Even if someone were to be able to sync my extensions, even if they could download and add Bitwarden, when they click here, they don't have access to my password, because I have to enter the master password to have access to the passwords here. So that adds an extra layer of security to your passwords, and you don't have to keep a text file or all your passwords written down on a piece of paper to log into websites. Now, other things you can do is you can go into your settings, and I'm not going to go in Chrome settings. This is not a link. This is something you have to put up here that will load up. So I'm just going to go through my illustrations. Anything I made linkable, I had it linkable. When you click that, if I made it linkable, it's not a website, so it's going to come up with an error message. You just basically copy that, put it up here, and then you can turn off syncing your device. But there's certain things you might want to manage what you sync. To do that, you can click here and control what you do on a sync. Like if once I'm logged into my email, I don't mind if I sync my bookmarks. I don't really have any bookmarks there that I care about. If you click Gmail or Outlook or AOL, this is the account that I eventually created for signing up for online accounts, so that if someone does get information, it goes to a junk mail, and that's what I recommend. I had an AOL for years and years and years, and it's still active. I log in, and when I sign up to junk sites online that I don't want them to have my email to send junk to my Gmail account, it will go to my AOL. So when I check AOL, it's just full of junk mail. So a lot of times I'll just say empty everything in the folder or into that email account. So you can use an old junk email for signing up to websites to prevent yourself from getting a lot of spam email in your primary email. But things you can manage. So I didn't turn sync completely off. I wanted to sync my password, not my passwords, no, not passwords. I want it to sync the bookmarks and my settings. So that way that I don't have to go around and change the settings on each one of the browsers that I have on my 4 different systems. So you can control what you don't want to sync and what not. It says control how your browser history. You can go through there and choose the settings to meet your needs. Once that you're finished doing that, on the left hand side over here, you will see a privacy and security section within the settings. Click the privacy and security, and you'll see a section in the middle called autofill. This is where you want to click where it says passwords and remove any of them. Take everything out of auto passwords. If you've ever put a payment method such as a credit card, a debit card, or any cards that you may have purchased at the stores that you put money on, go in there and take it out of your browser. You don't want anyone to have access to those information. Anything related to your home address or other people's address, that people that might have used your machine that's saved on your system, remove it. You don't want someone getting online and getting your personal home address. Delete the auto-fill forms. It's convenient when you're on a website. If you're filling out information, you can click out address, click on it, and it will automatically fill out. You can do the same thing with your password manager. Once you logged in, you click onto it, click on your address, and it will fill in very similar. It's a safer way. So remove anything that has the feature for auto-filling. Then locate where it says privacy and security. You want to go through and make sure you clear out all of this, everything, because you don't know what you've done in the past that can compromise, so you want to clear it out. So you just hit the clear out your cookies, clear out your browsing data, and clear out your cookies. Then you can go in there and make settings according to the type of security that you use based on your internet usage. When you're finished doing all of those settings, you'll see a safety check section on your screen. Click the check now, and when you do, it will generate a little report after it runs a scan, and it says safety check ran a moment ago, and I have a check in that box if it looks good. It will let you know if you're updated. And if you don't know the current version of the browser you're using, in this case is Chrome, you can look up, make sure that you're looking at the most current version. If you're not, it will say that you're using an older version. It will prompt you for you to update. It will let you know that there's no saved passwords. Any saved passwords, you do want to remove them. It says Chrome can check your passwords when you save them. I don't use that feature no more. I did. I was compromised. And even though Google will let me know that I had compromised passwords, it was in this form. It wasn't that it sent me an email saying, Tommy, you got 5 compromised passwords. If I use the password check link, it then let me know that I have a compromised password. So I really didn't like that. So I don't trust the browser, any browser, storing my usernames or passwords anymore. All right, so here is extensions that I recommend, because now's the time to focus on extension. How did the hack occur? I don't know. There's multiple ways. Installing a lot of extensions can compromise your accounts that you use in your browser. It can compromise your usernames and your passwords. One example and this was a while back, I had a program called Video Download Professional that started out as a good extension. Eventually, when it got an update, I was prompted that extension contained malware, and I immediately removed it. Did they gain access to my username and password at that time? I don't know. But I do know that I did one time have an extension that contained malware. So if you click on this link where it says browser extensions or privacy nightmare, stop using so many of them, it will let you know that these extensions can be harmful to your system and your browser, and they can collect things such as your usernames and passwords. So if you're worried about browser extensions, I recommend removing any that you don't use. And if you want to check the safety of those, on the side where it says privacy and security, you want to go down to where it says extension now. Click that little box and it will show you every extension that's in your browser. And then I chose Bitwarden, for example. You can click more details by clicking the details button. If it's something you don't know, click the remove and it will remove it from your Chrome browser. By clicking details, it will give you more information about how it collects information, or you can actually say view in the Chrome Web Store. And you can click that and you can look at the last time that it was updated. So I installed the extension on June 9th. It was updated on May the 31st. So it gets updates quite often. If you find an extension that hasn't been updated in over a year, I recommend removing that extension from your system, because more than likely it's been abandoned and it's no longer receiving security updates, and that means it can pose a security threat to your browser. Once that you've got all of your passwords out of your Google Chrome and all your usernames out of your Google Chrome, along with all your credit card information, debit card information, all your addresses, once you got it removed, now's a time to run a scan on your system. Whether you're using Linux, Windows, Mac, Android, I recommend scanning your system. So if you're using Linux, I recommend you use ClamScam, and I've already it's the Clam AV, the Clam antivirus. This is a good way, and I go through here and explain. I'm not going to make another video on that. You can go through there and follow these instructions, and it will show you how to scan all the files on your system. So it will also scan your browsers, so if they're infected, it will let you know that you have an infected browser on your system, that you can remove the infected browsers. If you're using a Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android, you can click the Malware Bytes and then choose whether it's for home or for business. It's for Android, iOS, all different platforms. I recommend running the free version of this to find any infected files that it's capable of and detecting. Then once you remove them, if it found some, I recommend to remove any files that it found. Then I recommend, if you're using a Windows, Mac, or Android, to download the Trend Micro. You can download it for Windows and Mac. It was free scan. Let it scan your entire system. Don't just scan what's in memory. Scan every file. Anything that it finds, delete or quarantine it. Remove it from your system. And then do scans until it no longer finds anything to make sure your system is clean. So that way, once you got all your browsers removed of all your passwords, you've scanned your computer for threats. Now you want to go into your Gmail account. In this case, if you're using Hotmail and it was affected, or Outlook, or any other ones, you want to do something similar. I'm just using my Gmail because that was the account that I noticed 2 things were logged in that I have no idea what they were. So you want to log into your Gmail account, which I'm not going to do and expose other people's emails that have emailed me. But in the corner up here, you'll see a little icon that represents you. Then you'll see like the Google applications. Then you see the settings gear. Click the settings gear. When it drops down, click the See All settings. When you do that, you will get this type of settings dialog box. It will be on General by default. You want to click on Filters and Blocked Addresses. If someone has hacked into your email, and if they plan on doing some things that are illegal, such as purchasing things from Amazon, Walmart, eBay, or any other online store, they don't want you to receive emails that you purchase things from those. And they don't want you to try to reset your passwords, because normally it will send information from Amazon, eBay, Walmart, or whatever to your email with steps to change the password, or maybe even have a verification code so that you can put into it to prove it's you. So they can go in there and put like block out anything from Amazon, anything from Walmart, anything from your bank. So if you're trying to change your Amazon account, if you're trying to change your bank email address, if you're trying to change your Walmart address, and when I said account a while ago, I meant email address and password, not necessarily email address, but your password for your email in Amazon. If you try to change any of those, if they put the links to those, it's going to block out anything from Amazon, anything from Walmart, anything from your bank, and you're not going to get an email. And you might go in panic mode. What has happened? I'm trying to reset and somehow I'm not getting it. How are they blocking it out? This is one way that they're blocking it out. So that way that they're buying as much stuff as they want, and you're not receiving any email notifications that you're purchasing those items. And it's not you purchasing those items. It's an online hacker, some thief, purchasing things with your money, and it's blocking out the notifications that you're getting from those accounts that they're purchasing from. So anything that's blocked out, remove it. So as you can see here, I have nothing in these blocked accounts, but that's one thing you do want to check to make sure once that you are hacked. Now, let me show you about my Amazon account. On Wednesday, May the 12th, I got an email from my bank saying that someone made a purchase on the 10th of that month. On May the 10th, someone made a purchase of $437.99. I did open up my Gmail. I looked. I didn't receive any email from Amazon saying that anything was purchased. So I quickly logged into my Amazon account and I looked for a purchase, and the last thing that I purchased was still the top of my list. So I'm thinking, where did this happen? Is that real? I just couldn't find the purchase. So I called the bank. to confirm if that was not a phishing email. A phishing email is someone trying to get you to click a link so they can gain access to your computer. Actually, I called the bank and they confirmed that someone did purchase something from Amazon on that date. And so I says, I don't see it in my Amazon. So together, she was trying to say, the lady on the phone was telling me to log into my Amazon account, which I was doing while I was talking to her on the phone. And eventually, while clicking through links, while clicking where it says ordering shopping preferences, I noticed there was a link called archive orders that I've never ever used. When I clicked that, I noticed that there was 3 items that were archived. They were hidden from my list of things that was purchased. At the top was the $437 GoPro that someone had purchased. The other one that still was pending was a couped and frame GoPro lens that was $12.73, and it was still pending. And then there was an expensive pressure washer that says $208.38 that also hadn't went through. So I asked the lady to look at my statement to make sure that that was the only one, $437.99. The GoPro wasn't on my debit card, nor was the pressure washer. So she said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deactivate your card to remove the card from your Amazon account. So she deactivated my card, and she said I would no longer have any purchases because it's now deactivated. And so I removed the debit card from the Amazon account. She told me before we hung up to let Amazon know that my account was hacked. So while I was in Amazon, I looked for a phone number, and at the time I could not find a phone number. So I clicked a little messenger to communicate to someone from Amazon. I informed them that my account was hacked, and I told them that I live here in North Carolina, and someone that purchased this that had it sent to California, and the lady, the bot, or the employee from Amazon told me that they would take care of it. They first asked me, do I share my Amazon account? And I told them no. I am the only person that's ever used my Amazon account, and I only log in on 2 computers. I log in on the 2 desktop systems. So that way they should be able to look at the user identification, the UUID for each of the devices, and the IP address of my internet provider at the history, and notice that I've never purchased anything from any other device. So it should have set off a red flag that I used something or someone used something other than my user ID, and that it was shipped to a location that I've never shipped to. It's always either come to my house or to my parents' house, never sent nowhere else. So that should have set off a red flag. The next day, after I got off the phone, I wanted to make sure that my account was safe. I figured that the Amazon employee would lock my account since I told her it was hacked. The next day, on Thursday, I logged back into my Amazon account, and there was over $1,200 worth of products that was in my shopping cart. I didn't take a screenshot of it because they didn't take any money from my account at that time because my card was deactivated. So I deleted those things from my shopping cart, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought, well, maybe Amazon, since they know I was hacked, will do something, or maybe they're investigating or trying to trace whoever is doing this. I couldn't comprehend what was going on. I just didn't understand it, how additional things could get my shopping cart. So on Saturday, May the 15th, I got another email from my bank that's saying that $12.73 was taken. That was here from the GoPro lens from my debit card. So I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? That debit card is deactivated. So I called back to the bank and I said, I don't know what happened. I've deactivated the card, and somehow the money was taken out of a deactivated card. The lady at the bank tried to say they let me know that somehow it slipped through while it was being the process of being deactivated. The money was taken out. So they told me that they would reimburse me for that. So I wasn't really concerned about the $12.73. I was more concerned about the $437.99. That was the big concern. But what concerned me was, how did it take out money from a card that was deactivated? But she tried to explain it was in the process of being deactivated. So on Sunday, I received another email thanking me for joining Prime. I'm like, wait a minute. I've never been a Prime member in my life. So I called. I got back on there, click the messenger, and request Amazon to call me. That was the only way I could find out a way for them to contact me and to speak to someone. So I spoke to someone, and he was very friendly, and I said, did I actually speak to a human on the messenger when I tried to inform them that my account was hacked? I said at the time that someone had purchased the GoPro, it was in the process of the order. It was processing it. It wasn't even delivered. I figured the Amazon employee would cancel the order. I didn't think I had to cancel it since I reported that it was hacked. And I told them where it was being shipped to. And eventually I got an email saying that it was delivered to me and handed to me, which it wasn't, because I've never lived in the West Coast in California. I've always been in North Carolina. So he kind of understood my concerns, and he said he would take care of it. About an hour later, after I got off the phone with the individual, I did get an email saying that my account was locked. And I thought, I don't know why it had to come to this long. So I found an email address for the account alert at Amazon.com. And I explained them everything and sent them the screen captures. And then I wrote them this little letter that you can read here, telling basically what I've already said, that I've only purchased things from 2 computers, that they should automatically be able to trace the IP address, that to know it wasn't me, and my UUID. Here's the funny thing. On Wednesday, May the 26th, I received an email from Amazon saying to return a device that I purchased, which was $208.38, and there was no way that I could purchase that. That was in the process of being ordered, that I hit canceled to after my card was deactivated, so that never went through. So here they're wanting me to return a product that I didn't even order. They said they was going to charge me on my account. So that was when I realized, wait a minute, they were blaming my Gmail account for being hacked. So now I thought, my account has been locked for multiple days. And so something's going on my Amazon account on a locked account. So I realized that, yes, my Gmail account, I can confirm that it probably was hacked. But was the hack the thing that's controlling the Amazon? Well, it could have been the source where it started from, but something now is going on with my Amazon account that I can't explain. I no longer have synced to log in through my Gmail to where it gives access to my Amazon account. Amazon, as far as I know, doesn't have any way like Google where I can see all the devices that are logged in to sign out. So I thought, if I did change my password and put my password in my password manager, which I did, no one else should have access to my account other than Amazon employees. But somehow someone was still making changes to a locked account. So I looked on the internet for phone numbers, and I found the Amazon security department, which it was this number. So when I called, it said that they were overloaded to call back later. So I found an Amazon customer service, and I called this. And I told them what was going on, that things were happening to a locked account. And the guy looked, and he saw that things were actually taking place on the background to a locked account. So he told me that he was going to send me papers so they can start an internal investigation to find out how that things were actually happening on a locked Amazon account. And that was like Friday, May the 28th, when I contacted him. As of yesterday, and it's still June the 13th now as I make the video, I still haven't received any forms from Amazon to do any internal investigation. I did on Saturday, May the 29th, a day after I talked to him on the phone. I did get this email, but that's not where they said they were going to send it. They was going to send it papers to my home address, and they confirmed it was me by my telephone number so that I can fill out forms to start an internal investigation. This was just a generic email to let me know that my account was hacked. They told me to disable my password, to do basically everything that I've already did. And I thought, that's not the forms that I was supposed to be getting. Anyhow, on Thursday, I did receive a letter from my bank saying that the money that was taken out was returned from Amazon. And I thought that was a little strange. You know, that card was deactivated, but Amazon somehow, I don't know if they were communicating with my bank, but that money got back into my bank, which was a good thing. That's not a bad thing. So when money goes back into your account, that is a good thing. So the money that they said that they replaced for it, they took that out because Amazon actually replaced the $12.73. So I don't know if they were communicating in the background with each other, doing an investigation. I don't know what was going on in the background, but that money came back. And then on February 17th of 2021, I discovered, and that's the time that this took place, that there were 14 million alleged Amazon and eBay accounts sold online. And I'm not going to go into details about this, but it says, should you be concerned and things to take place if your Amazon account was compromised. So that was back in early 2021, and that was when COVID was going on here in the United States. It was pretty bad. We've had the leading deaths in the world with COVID. So people were more panicking about the COVID situation. You didn't hardly hear any type of security things going on until recently, when the COVID's starting to lower now, to die down. You didn't hear anything about 14 million alleged Amazon and email about accounts being sold online. So that was when I thought, I wished I would have known about that, so I could have took some precautions to keep that from happening. Then Friday, June 11th, I noticed that the Sun had reported, and June 11th was just 2 days ago, that hackers stole 26 million logins from Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and other sites using a virus, and they can even use your camera to take pictures of your face for facial recognition. So hackers are getting very, very good at their craft. So during COVID, where a lot of these security people were no longer able to work at work, they had to work at home, and there was a learning curve for trying to figure out how to work at home and communicate with their co-workers. These hackers are basically still in their normal environment, basically still going at their craft. So these big giants such as Amazon, Facebook, and Apple, as you can see here, and you can read the link, I have it here, that hackers stole 26 million logins. So somehow the things that are going on in the background of my Amazon account, it could have started with my Gmail, but I do now know that my Amazon account was probably an account that was hacked. As of yesterday, June the 12th, and this kind of wraps up the finalizing of the money. More things may go on in the future, but as of right now, yesterday I received a letter from my bank saying the money that was stolen from me has now been returned. So no money now has been taken from me. And where they say I owed the pressure washer, when I contact the man, he said don't worry about that. Even in that email saying that I don't owe for that, I guess they could look in the background and see that things were going on that wasn't me. Now, I do have other sites worth checking out. I got about other password leaks where I show that billions of emails and the largest data leak ever. Another link that talks more about those 26 million those 26 million logins for Amazon, Apple, Facebook. It explains a little bit more about how that it happened. I'm not going to focus on that in this. And I've already showed you the link to the FBI warned about the multiple factor authentication, so that people that are using like two-step verification, that hackers are learning to override those to still get into accounts. And I put that how that little bit more information. I'm not showing you any software to do that. I'm not teaching anyone how to become a hacker. I'm trying to give information so that you protect yourself from these hackers. And then here's Cybersecurity 101. So this allows you to try to protect yourself from hackers, spies, and even the government. It gives you a lot of great tips that if you go through here, it will help you secure your personal information. And there's even talks about, like used to skimmers on bank ATMs, there's now skimmers that they're using on e-commerce websites. So as you put your information in a lot of places that you purchase online, they're actually getting your information and sending it to a hacker as well as where you're purchasing it from. So they're basically able to clone your card. So I'm making you aware of these things so that you're being a little bit more cautious about where you order things online, and that how you protect your information. Your username and passwords is very, very powerful. You probably didn't realize that when you were setting up. I know I didn't when I first set up my Chrome account. When I told it to save the email address and password, I didn't think about how easy it was for someone to log in as me once they got that information, and then how they could sync everything, get my email, sync my passwords, and gain access to everything. So all this information, if I were to just been a little bit more cautious and a little bit more safety minded, all of this could have been prevented. So really, where all these hackers did all of this damage, I only have myself to blame. And so if you're not protecting your usernames and your passwords, this could happen to you. And luckily for me, I know that to a lot of people, that's not a lot of money, $437.98. But to me, that's a lot. It takes me a while to earn that much. So to a lot of people, they might not look at that and think, well, if that's all they got, that's not bad. And then worry about changing. I know I've spoke to several people warning about what happened to me. And some people's answers were, oh, my credit card, it's insured. Well, that's not really taking place of, if someone gets into your account, can they get into your medical records? Can they get into your bank account? That's the part that's scary. So if I see things, or if I have things that happen to me, I would try to warn you. So if you know of someone that has an email address that could be compromised, has an Amazon account that could be compromised, and I've never asked anyone to do this before that's watching a video on YouTube, please share this with someone, not so that I can get more subscribers. I never make a YouTube video for subscribers. I never tried to take money from any corporation as a sponsor for the software that I show how to install and use. I try to help people to help people. I never say to subscribe. If they see something they like and want to subscribe, I thank them for that. My purpose of me is, when I learned how to use the software on Linux, I learned from watching YouTube videos and from websites. I just wanted to return the favor because I was getting a free software. I was getting free software for a lot of things. So a way of giving back was to make a web page, to make videos, not to profit from anything. This is kind of my way of paying back for all this free stuff that I'm getting from open source. So if you do know of someone that's in jeopardy of their emails, whether it be their Yahoo, whether it be their Hotmail, their Outlook, their Gmail, their Amazon account, their Facebook account, any other thing, please share this with them. Let them know that this is something serious. They're probably not looking at this on mainstream TV news, because places like Amazon, Apple, these are sponsors for a lot of news programs, and unless they've got diehard evidence that it's happening to a lot of people, they're not going to try to panic people. And I'm not trying to put panic in people. I'm trying to say, if you remove your passwords and your usernames, you put them in a password manager, you disable any account that was logged in as to your account, then more than likely you can prevent this from happening. So prevention is the key. If you've not been hacked, prevent yourself from being hacked. I know this was a long YouTube video, and I apologize for that. And if you have any questions or concerns, ask. I'll try to help. If not, hopefully if you put a comment on the YouTube video, some other person that's watching the video may be able to help you. I hope this video has been beneficial to you, and have a great day.